Hello everybody, it's Kathy Champion and I'm your independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Gastonia, North Carolina. Welcome to my channel. I hope that if you are a regular here that you have hit that little bell icon and that will subscribe you to my channel. There's no obligation. All it does is add you as a subscriber, and if you want to be notified of all of my upcoming videos, click on that little bell and you can choose to receive some, all, or you can customize how you want to receive your notifications. A great way to stay in touch, to see when I have something new coming up. You're not obligated and no sense of the word. You are just showing that you want to support my channel with viewing at your convenience. So today I wanted to kind of go over this Curvy celebration. It's sort of a sweet slash bundle. I'm going to turn over my paper and I'm going to show you what you get. The Quite Curvy bundle gives you the stamp set and the dies, but if you want to do the entire bundle, the entire, I guess it's almost like a suite, you get an additional Curvy Christmas stamp set and also the classic Christmas Designer Series paper. So let me show you exactly what that entails. Here is my host code for November. So if you make a purchase in my online store, use this as your host code, then you will also not only receive your products that you purchase, you'll also get a little free gift from me. And I'm going to start including a card in that I have handmade. I will not sign it. I'm going to leave it as a blank card so that you can use that to give to someone in your life. And it will be a card, like for now it would either be a Thanksgiving card or a Christmas card. I'm thinking Christmas because Thanksgiving is fastly approaching. So Christmas cards through now to Christmas, and then after that they could be a get well card, it could be a thinking of you card, it could be a birthday card, just a card of encouragement, sympathy card. It will be something of that nature that I will send to you. So along with your little divvy of a prize. Well, and I give away things like a 6x6 paper pack. Sometimes I throw in, let me pull out my gems. Sometimes you'll get maybe a pack of pearls. They will not be used like those, I promise. It will be a new pack or a pack of the Rhinestones. You know, some little ditty, maybe a pack of sequins, and again, they will not be used. These all have been used because they are mine. I do have some others tucked back that I do use for gifts. And I never know what it's going to be. I just happen to decide on an item and I go with that. And for some reason my dog has got a little bit of a cough this morning and you are hearing Toby. So anyway, let me get back into explaining this bundle. I'm going to lay this over here. Also, don't fret if you did not get this host code. It will be in the description and it will also be on my blog. I've been having some problems with my blog. I don't know what is going on, but I'm going to contact those people today and see if I can find out exactly what is going on. But anyway, getting back to our bundle, the Quite Curvy bundle gives you the Quite Curvy stamp set. These are photopolymer, which work great. If you don't have the Stampin' Pierce mat, I would suggest buying one. They're $5, so worth the money. If you put this down and put your paper on it and then use your photopolymer, it gives you that extra little bit of cushion that we get in our cling stamps. So it does help them to stamp much better if you have this little Stampin' Pierce mat. I have two of these. I use one for piercing and one for stamping. So this is my stamping one. Okay, the next thing that you get is these beautiful Curvy Dies. These are exquisite. Now I'm going to show you, here is this one. This is the way it looks when it's punched out. Is that not gorgeous? And then of course this is, this isn't going to show up on here. I'm going to lay it on here. And this is the way you can lay them out. And look how pretty that is. Isn't that gorgeous? So you can lay these on your card and get that curvy effect. And then you can also stamp. And I thought I had one. And I don't, but we're going to play with this in just a little bit. So hopefully we will end up making some beautiful cards, or at least one beautiful card, using this die and this one. And we're going to use some beautiful paper along with that. Now if you decide that you want the whole thing, the entire variety bundle, the Quite Curvy, they call it the Quite Curvy Variety Bundle. That's listed here at the bottom of my flyer. It is the Quite Curvy stamp set, the Quite Curvy Dies, this beautiful Curvy Christmas stamp set, and you also get the classic Christmas. And what did I do with that pack of paper? Let's see if I stuck it back down here. And I'm really bad about putting things away. Classic Christmas, and this is it right here. I like to take my packs of paper because the packaging on a lot of these is quite flimsy. So when I get it, I take that plastic cellophane off and I put it in a Ziploc bag with my name card on it. Now if it doesn't have a name card and it just comes with that little thing, I cut it off and just put it in with my paper so that I have the name of it and the number. And also a lot of times it will tell you what papers coordinate, what solid cardstocks coordinate with your paper. But look at this beautiful, beautiful designer series paper. And you know what I'm seeing? This doesn't just look Christmassy. This looks like paper that you could use any time of the year. And I love that for the Stampin' Up. Now this side looks a little bit more Christmassy because you're getting the trees and the boughs. You're getting, but that little plaid right there doesn't look Christmassy at all. It looks very techy. The papers are so versatile because you can use them in so many ways, and they're not limited to just Christmas or the holidays. So I love that. So that is, here's the Christmas, and I have a phone call. I'll be right back. Alright, I am back. Sorry about that little interruption in our little crafty moment. But what I wanted to do is, like I was saying, if you want all 4 of these items, your 48 sheets of 6x6 designer series paper, you get 4 sheets of each design, or you could look at it like 2 sheets of each design because you can do back and front, which is fantastic. You also get the Curvy Christmas, which is absolutely stunningly adorable. I love, love, love. I think you can see it better by looking at the images right here. There's 13 different images in this stamp set. Beautiful. I love it. And of course these Curvy Dies, and I'm going to show you how versatile they are and how cute they can make the edges of your paper. You can also cut out from this Quite Curvy. These dies coordinate with your birds. With this little spray of flowers, there's your die for that. And then the large spray of leaves, this one is for here. And then you have all of these little curvy sentiments that you can use under and over your curvatures of your dies. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to work on making a card. And I'm going to show you what I have. Now, if you want just this, the Quite Curvy and the Curvy Dies, this is going to be offered in the new mini catalog that's coming out in January. So this will not go away. But if you are interested in the Curvy Christmas, you will have to act on it right now. And the stamp set alone is $21, and the designer series paper is $11.50. So you can see what a great savings it is if you get the Quite Curvy Variety Bundle, which includes the paper, the Curvy Christmas, your Quite Curvy, and your Curvy Dies. I love the entire Curvy collection. I think it's so cute and so versatile, and you will see that in just a minute. I am not going to be using the Christmas one. I am going to be using just the Curvy Dies and the Quite Curvy stamp set. And we will do something different with those probably within the next week or so. So be on the lookout for that, because we will be working with that. And I am trying to get back into the swing of things, because as many of you know, I had that surgery back in September with my dental implants, and it wasn't just a dental implant, it was a full top and bottom, 6 implants on the top and 4 on the bottom, and then the all-on-4 and all-on-6 bridges that were screwed in to reconstruct my smile. So it was quite an ordeal, to say the least. But anyway, let's move along. And what I want to do, I have a silver piece of the silver foil, and I went ahead and cut this to the size of a card, 5.5. It's 5.5 by 2.5, and I'll show you how we're going to use that. I have a 8.5 by 11 piece of the Balmy Blue, and also 8.5 by 11 piece of the Night of Navy. So let me show you how I plan on constructing a little card using this and that Curvy die set. So the first thing I want to do is I'm going to put my Night of Navy in on the 11-inch side, and I'm going to cut this in half at 5.5. Because half of 11 is 5.5. So there's half of it. I'm going to save this because that's going to give us a whole nother piece of cardstock. And I'm pulling up the picture of my card that I did because I thought that it was beautiful, but I have since then sent it to someone. So I'm going to reproduce this for all of you. So I'm going to score this now at 4 1/4. So this is going to give us our basic A2 size card, and I'm using this Stampin' Up trimmer that I absolutely love, because as you can see, I'm going to turn it this way so you can see the full scope of it. You have 2 resting places for your blades. You have the light gray blade is your scoring blade, and your dark gray blade is your cutting blade. So I keep it to the bottom because I usually push up on my paper when I cut, and I keep this one at the top so that I can score with it. So I love this trimmer for so many reasons. One is you have the see-through ruler here, and you have markings on here. Now if you could not see those, you could slip a piece of paper under here, and then you can see exactly the numbers. I can see my 5.5 right here. I can see that that's a 2-inch right there. So you can, by putting a piece of white paper, it's even much better with white, see what I mean? So you can actually see what you've got. You've got this nice lip at the top and the bottom that you can butt your paper up against to ensure that you're getting an even cut or score. This raises up. You have an arm that extends out not 12, but 17 1/4 inches. Look at that. So it makes this really nice if you are into scrapbooking and you need to cut large pieces of paper. This scoreboard will take care, trimmer will take care of all of your scoring and trimming needs. Alright, so I'm going to bring this to 4 1/4, and I'm going to use that score blade, and I love being able to score my cardstock with my trimmer. And then I'm going to fold this in half, and what I like to do is bring my edges together, and then what I do, after I bring my edges together, I will take my bone folder And let me find this is my bone folder. And I am just going to push this down over my cardstock, just like this, getting myself a nice crease. That's so important when we're doing cards, is to have a nice crease and an even edging. That is crucial. Now, the next thing that I need to cut is I need to cut a piece of this Balmy Blue that will be 5.5. And that looks like something got on my cardstock right there, but that's okay. We will use that and put it this way. So I'm going to cut a 5.5 inch piece off of this. So again, I'm going to put this in on the 11-inch side and cut it to 5 1/2. I'm going to move that score blade up to the top and then push up. And then I'm going to cut another piece, and I think I want this one to be probably about, let's use our grid paper and see. I want this to come down about 3 1/4. Yeah, let's do 3 1/2 just to be sure. So 3 1/2. We're going to use our Curvy Die on that. And we're also going to use our Curvy Die on this. And this is all going to layer like that. So, I'll be right back. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and put our trimmer away, and I am going to bring over my cut and emboss machine. And I don't normally bring this to the front, but I did want to do this today because I want you to see exactly how these Curvy dies work. And I think it's very important to get the full effect, to be able to see exactly what these dies are doing. And sorry, I seem to have a little bit of a frog in my throat. What I am going to do is I want to use this die first, and I want it to be on this blue panel. And I want it to cut up like this. So I'm going to lay this on, and I see I got a piece of paper in here, so I'm just going to poke that out so that we get a good cut. And I want this piece to go up like this. So I want it to come about like this across my piece. Let's see if we can get it about like that. Now once I get that piece where I want it, and this is going to move because I don't have it flat on my surface. Hang on just a minute. Let's see if we can fix that. I see so many people have trouble with their Stampin' Cut and Die machine, and I want to tell you one of the reasons is because you have it slitting on something that moves. This, if you put it down on a solid surface, this is a wood top desk, it doesn't move. It has non-skid feet on it, which holds it very securely. So I'm going to take off my cut plate. So I have my number 1 plate, my number 2 plate, which is for using with your thin lot dies. And then I have my battered plate, you can see, but it is pretty straight. It has a little bit of a curve to it, but as soon as it starts bowing, I'll put it back, turn it over, and put it back in the opposite direction, and it does help it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay this on here about where I want that, and I am trying to get a curvature of about like so. And I am going to use my little Post-it note stickies. Y'all know I love these for holding my dies in place. I have several, and I just use them over and over. So I'm going to put one there and one right here. And I'm going to lay the other ones over here. I'm going to pop my other number 3 plate over top to make my sandwich. And then I'm just going to roll this through. And as you can see, my die cut machine is not moving. I love, love, love this die cut machine. I have had quite a few die machines in my crafty life, but I have to tell you, and it's not because I sell this one, it is without a doubt my favorite. We still don't have a release date on the little one, but I'm hoping that it will be released in our new upcoming catalog, but we don't know that as of yet. So if not, then maybe shortly thereafter would be wonderful. So I'm going to grab my little take your pick tool with my little brush attachment, and I'm just going to brush. Oops, I didn't screw it back in tight when I was showing it yesterday. And I'm just going to brush those out and see how good they come out. Beautifully. And I am going to keep this little piece because wouldn't that make a beautiful little snowbank for a card? So I'm going to hang on to that piece, and I'm going to clear my little pieces off of my cut plate. I always do that so that my cut plate is ready for my next die cut, which we are going to do right now. So what we're going to want to do is have just enough of this silver to lay this on. And then we are going to lay the other die. And remember what I told you. It's going to cut where the bottom of that blade part is. So if you look at this, it has a blade on this side. This side doesn't. And when you get yours, you will see that the blade, so you always want that blade part to come down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just lay this on here, and I'm going to bring it down about like that, because I know that's, looking at that other piece, that's where I want that to live. And I'm going to grab my pieces of Post-it flags, and I am going to adhere that to that. Now, here's a tip. If you are using a plate like mine that is already has divots and markings already on it, this one's divoted quite a bit, you can see. To keep that from showing on your foil, let me show you what I'm going to do. I am going to simply take a half a sheet of cardstock and lay over top of it, and then I'm going to lay my other number 3 plate over top of that, and then I'm going to send that through. That will help protect that foil paper, because foil paper picks up everything. Now we still got a little bit, but that's going to be underneath. And look at that. Is that not gorgeous? Can you see that? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to clean those little pieces out of here. Let's go ahead and move our plate. All of our little plates out of the way. I am going to tap them off, and I'm just going to go ahead and slide that back in, and then I'm going to bring this back over. So we have our nice little work surface here with our stamping grid paper. And this grid paper is not just for us demonstrators. You can buy this in our annual catalog for your own crafting use, and it is just gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And it's so versatile. If you're doing any stamping off, you've always got a piece that will work, and I love that. So now what I want to do is I want to get this on here just like that. We might have a little bit of an overlay, and that's okay. We'll trim that off, not a problem. But what I want to do is I want this to go, and I want to give myself just that tiny little bit of an edge. I think about like that would be great. And let's raise that up, just like that. Now, what I like to do is I'm going to put some Press and Seal on this piece. And I like this, the Press and Seal Plus, because it works good every time. And I'm just going to put a row of it here and a row of it here. Maybe a little piece right there. Because what this is going to allow me to do, it's going to allow me to sit this piece where I want it. Just like so, and then press. Now that piece is adhered very nicely, and this piece is ready to go on our card. Now if you want to add that little tiny bit of a border, what I would do is I would take this to my trimmer, and we are going to do that and take about 1/8 of an inch off of each side. Just 1/8. So I'm putting it into that first mark that's pointing down. Remember, the ones that are up are your centimeters. The one that is down is your inches. So that is going to be 1/8 of an inch. Now I'm butting this up against there nice and tight. Put my score blade up out of my way, and then I'm going to cut that up. Just that ever so slight amount off of there. And I think that works really good. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, but I'm going to turn it over and cut from the other side. And I'm going to go right there to that 1/8 and cut up. This also will square everything up and help give you a nicer feel on your cardstock. Now look at that. Is that not gorgeous? I love, love, love the way this is turning out. So, you know, this might be something that you want to try. It is such a versatile set to have in your stash. So I would say if you don't already have something similar to this, I would highly recommend getting definitely the dies, because they are just stunning by themselves. But the stamp set, wait till you watch what I do. It's going to be gorgeous. I can't wait. Alright, I'm going to grab some liquid glue. And the reason I'm going to use liquid on here is I want to be able to have a little wiggle room here. So I am just going to take my liquid adhesive, and I am going to just swirl it ever so gently. And down here too, you don't want to get it into those little holes because you don't want it to give you any problems. But this glue will give you wiggle room. And I got glue on my work surface. Did y'all see that? I always get glue all over everything. This is going to give me a chance to put this down and get my edges even. Just like that. Now I'm going to grab that bone folder, but I'm going to get one that's actually glue resistant. This is not a Stampin' Up, it is a piece of contraband, so forgive me. But if I get glue on this one, it will clean off very, very easy. There we go. Isn't that gorgeous? So what I want to do with the stamp set now, the Made with Love Just For You, I think I'm going to do Hello, Made with Love Just For You. So I'm making this one just a little bit different than I did the other one. So let's grab the Hello, and let's grab the one that says Made with Love Just For You. And I also want to grab one of the little birdies, and I think I'm going to use, this one. And why not, we might even take the little birdie and put a little twig in his mouth. How cute would that be? You know, I notice something different every time I look at these stamp sets. They are just that gorgeous. Now, I'm going to open up my card because I want a nice fairly easy place to be able to stamp on. So I'm going to grab my Press and Seal mat, my Stamp and Pierce mat. I'll get it out right in a minute, y'all. I am going to put my sentiment about here, and I want to use that Night of Navy, the same color of the cardstock. But if you notice what I'm doing here, I'm going to line up on my grid paper very evenly all the way across my stamp. Now my stamp is stained because I've used it. And you know what I say about a stained stamp? It's a love stamp. I love my stained stamps because you know what that means? That means they've been used over and over and over, and they are very much loved. So I'm going to put this down right there, and then I'm going to bring this over. Oh, let's see, I wanted hello on there too, so let's go back and regroup. I'm going to build this up the way I want it. So I want it to say hello. Just like that. And let's see if that's going to grab it. Maybe I need to grab a bigger block. So we'll go with this one. And I am going to try to get this as even as I can. And I'll be right back. Okay, I have gotten my stamp mounted on my block, and I decided not to use the hello, but I do want to use the little bird right there. So, and I want to stamp it kind of over to the left-hand side right about here. So I am going to go ahead and commit to there, and I am going to use the Night of Navy. And I might even want to stamp off a little bit. So let's see if that's the color that we want. And I've got just a piece of scrap, a piece of my grid paper that was scrap. It actually had some ink on it. So I decided to just put it up underneath my mat, and that way I could use it and hopefully keep my surface clean for a little bit. But that's normally what I do, just to get as much life out of my mat, my grid paper as I can. Let's see, that looks, I think I like it full on. Yep, I think we need it full on. So I am going to wipe the excess ink off of my block and right up on the corner of my stamp. Sometimes if you rock your stamp in your ink, you will pick up ink that you don't want on there. So I just try to make sure that I clean that off, and I'm just going to let it kiss my pad like so. And I usually look at my stamp just to see if I'm getting a really good amount of ink right where I want it. So I'm going to bring my card down so I know that my card is straight, and then I am going to stamp this right about here. And I'm giving it a good press because I want to make sure that I'm getting that ink in contact with that paper. Very pretty, very, very pretty. Then I can just stamp off over here. This will make my cleanup a little easier when I take this to my Stampin' Scrub, and I'm going to lay it out over here. And one thing with the Stampin' Scrub, I show this just about every time I stamp. This is such a nice piece to have in your craft room. You have one side that is for your wet and one side for your dry, and you can tell because you got raindrops on this side and a sunshine on that side. And the great thing about your Stampin' Mist or any stamp cleaner that you put on here, you can reactivate it with just a little squirt of water. And I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, because I'm going to take this and clean it. Now remember, the pigment inks that are the Stampin' Up inks, they will stain, but they do clean up beautifully, because look at this. It's stained, but it's not it's not any residue left on that stamp whatsoever. So that's the great thing about using the Stampin' Scrub. It cleans your your stamps off beautifully, and I love it for that. So I'm going to go ahead and close that ink pad up so that I don't make a mess, because y'all know me and an open ink pad. It is a recipe for disaster. Now this looks just absolutely darling, just like this. But I want to do one better, and I want to come in down here at the bottom, and I want to use a silver embossing powder. So I'm going to grab my little box of embossing materials. The first thing I want to do is I want to treat my bottom part of my paper, and this is our little powder tool, and Stampin' Up! Does not carry this anymore. I am really hoping they bring it back. It is a great tool to have, but you can pick those up at most any store, craft store. I'm going to use a silver ink, silver embossing powder, because I want to put down my sentiment right here, and I am going to use the one that says "You're one in a million," and this is going to go right here, just like that. And see how the stamp sets curve to the dies, and they are just stunning. Now I'm going to bring that down just a hair, and I am going to use the same stamp block that I was using a while ago. I'm going to lay these stamps back over onto the piece, and I am going to pick this up just like this, turn it over, and I'm going to use my VersaMark and that's this ink right here. It is a watermark stamp pad, and you see it's just a white pad, and what it does, it puts down a clear ink. It's very sticky, clear ink. So I'm going to stamp this fairly well. That's why you want to make sure that you use that little anti-static tool first, because you don't want anything to stick to this when you're putting your powder down except your embossing powder. So I'm going to get that about where I want it, which is about midway, and I'm going to commit, and I'm going to really rub on my stamp really well, because I want to make sure that I've got that ink in all the places, and oh my gosh, that looks gorgeous. So now I'm going to take my card, and I'm going to move my little Stampin' Pierce mat, because I don't want to get embossing powder all over it. I'm going to go ahead and close my card, because I want that embossing powder to fall down. So I am going to take the top off of my embossing powder, and I am going to sprinkle a good amount. Don't be shy, because you're going to pour this back into your bottle, so you're not going to lose any of your embossing powder. And that looks really, really good. So I am going to go ahead and dump this back in. And I always like to use the coffee filter. It works for me. Some people use a folded piece of paper. Some people use the coffee filter. Some people even use a little instrument that you can get where you do it in a thing, and it has like a little faucet at the end, or a little tube that pours it back in. That I don't really feel that I need all that, so what I like to do is just what I just did. My coffee filters have proven to work for me. Now, in order to melt that embossing powder, you're going to need your heat gun. This is our Stampin' Up! 2-speed heat set gun. You have the first speed. Oops, that's the first speed. That's more for drying. Like if you do any type of mass media or watercolors or whatever like that, you can dry with this. But if you want to heat set embossing powder, you want to put it on 2. It is going to be noisy, so I'm going to cut the volume, and as soon as this gets good and hot, we will do the melting, and then I'll come right back with you. Okay, we are back, and look at this. Now, I did have some residue of ink or static or powder right there. So we got one of two options that we can do. You can grab your little mono sand eraser, which takes ink off, and you can try to sand that off a little bit. And that usually does work fairly well. And if you can't get it all off and you're still not pleased with the way that looks, which I think that worked out perfect. I think that is so pretty the way it coordinates. You can also go in and let's look at this Curvy Christmas. I said I wasn't going to use this, but the more I think about it, the more I think I really do want to use this. And I think the reason I do is I want to use these little snowflakes. And I think for the snowflake, I want to do and heat emboss a little bit of the snowflakes in the silver. And let's make sure I'm doing, yeah, these are the stars. Let's see, this is the stars up here, and here's the snowflake. So I'm going to take that little snowflake, and for this, I'm going to do it very sporadic, I guess would be the right word to use. I am going to, let me clean this off real quick before I go any further. Y'all know I hate a dirty stamp, so clean that off. And now I can just set that over to the side, and we can come back to this. And I think what I want to do is I want to just take and put some little snowflakes around on this just to depict the winter scene. So I'm just going to grab a little stamp block, and I'm going to go back into that VersaMark ink. I'm going to take my powder tool one more time, and I am going to powder liberally and rub it just like that. And then we'll take this VersaMark one more time, and I'm just going to dab it into that snowflake. And then I think I want a snowflake here, maybe one here. Maybe one about here on that side, and then maybe one here and one right there. Doesn't have to be perfect, because have you ever seen a perfect snowflake? I think that snowflakes are so individual. They're like us, you know. There's never ever two that are exactly alike. Even in identical twins, we all know that they are definitely different. And if you've ever known a set of twins, which I have known several sets of identical twins, they are never ever the same. They may look the same, but if you're around them long enough, you will definitely pick up the little subtle differences here and there in their personality and their attitudes, and even if you're around them long enough, you'll be able to tell the difference in their look. So I am going to sprinkle, 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 and tap, tap, tap. And then I'm going to do the same thing over here, and tap, tap, tap. Blow that off a little bit, and then I'm going to pour that little bit back into my jar. And yes, I'm using a contraband embossing powder, because every time I try to order, I'm finding they're sold out. So I think it's a Christmas thing. I'll definitely get some after the holidays, and I will have them going forward, because y'all know that I am fairly new to Stampin' Up. I'm not new to crafting, but I am new to Stampin' Up. So I'm going to heat this up again just very briefly. So I'm going to mute you again, and we're going to heat those stars up, and then I'll be right back. Alright everyone, we are back, and we have our stars completely embossed. Now, one thing you have to be careful of when you're using a heat gun, sometimes your adhesive will become unsticky. So what I would suggest doing after you heat set something like this, I would put something very heavy. Your plates from your die cut machine would work wonderful. And what that's going to do is going to give a nice cold flat surface for that to rest against, and that's going to take the puckering out of your card, and it's going to make your card, help your card to lay flat, which is a wonderful thing. Alright, I'm going to move my stamps back over here. I'm going to clean this little one real quick while I've got my Stampin' Scrub right here close by. And I'm going to lay this to the side. And I want to put my stamps back, because I am notorious for taking off too many stamps, and I made myself a promise that I would start making sure that they go back where they belong as soon as I use them. So sometimes making promises to yourself is a hard thing to do. But I figured while we're letting that cool and flatten out, this is a very good time to put your stamps back where they belong. Get your everything kind of picked up and put back the way you need it. And this is a necessity in crafting. You know, your cleaning up process and keeping your area nice and clean and neat is just as important as anything else. So what did I do with those other stamps? Let's see, I have lost 2 stamps already. two. The hello and the little twig. And I had it just a moment ago. Let's see if it stuck to the bottom of one of these. Nope. So let's see if it's over here on my dies, and it's not. So we know that it was right here a little bit ago. Let's see if by some miracle of a chance that it got picked up with my die cut machine. And nope, I don't feel it under there. This is why I'm telling you it's crucial to make sure that your stamp sets are picked up and put away as you use them, because They are so easy to lose, and I don't know if any of you have been devastated by the loss of a item off of a stamp set, and it is nothing short of being traumatic. It was for me every time that I misplace one. I'm going to check the bottom of this mat and make sure that it's not there. I had a beautiful nativity stamp at one point. Oh, look where they're at. They're on my powder tool. That they won't be sticky now. So, but you know what? That's okay. You can take a wet wipe. Mine actually have alcohol on it, and I know some people say not to use alcohol on your stamps, but I heard from a very reliable source that you can. You don't want to clean them with it, but the top of them, if they get unsticky, you can very simply go over top of it with a little bit of an alcohol wipe, and it brings them back to new. So that's what I just did, because I did get my powder tool on those, and you know, having a powder tool on them, they would not be sticky anymore. And we want them to stay nice and sticky so they will adhere to our blocks when we need them to. Alright, so that one is back together, and that's our quite curvy. So I'm putting it back into the correct bin. And I'm going to go ahead and put my embossing, all of my embossing stuff away. Alright, so now let's take this off and look at our card. And that looks really good. The only thing that I see that I would do, and I have this brush. This is not a Stampin' Up brush because they did not have one like this. This will help clean off any of that excess powder that you have on there. So pressing that down, I did, my glue seems like it reset really well. My card is laying somewhat flat, which is what I wanted. And the only thing that I have left to do is I want a bow, and I want to put maybe a couple of the little diamonds on my card, just to kind of dress it up. And we still need to do the inside, which the inside, we're going to keep it very simple on the inside. I think I'm going to use a piece of the blue, the Balmy Blue, and we're going to go ahead and cut this down to 4 by 5 1/4. So let's do 5 1/4. By 4. And that gives us our inside. And I want to I like to decorate a little bit on the inside of my card. So, I think what I want to do is, another thing I want to do is I want to put a little bit of color on my bird. So I'm going to open that up, and I am going to grab my my light Night of Navy, and I want to just come in and do a little bit, and maybe a little bit like that. And then I am going to grab my dark Balmy Blue, and I'm going to come in and pull that color up. Just enough to give us a nice little shading. That makes our little bird look much more alive. And I also think that I want to use a blue and just make like maybe a little trail. Let's see. Let's see if we use the dark Night of Navy. And I'm going to try it on this little piece of cardstock first to see if I like the way it looks. And I want to come up under his feet and go like that. I don't really like that. What if I did just a little line. I don't really like that either. But I feel like he needs something to anchor his little feet. Maybe like that. And maybe we can do a little bit of an arrow right there. You know, and if you don't like it, you could always cut a little piece of greenery. And why don't we do that? Let's cut out of our dark blue. I'm going to cut just a small strip off of this piece. And you know what? I think I'm just going to use my scissors for the sake of the time. And I'm just going to cut a piece off like that. I can always even that up a little bit later. I just felt like it needed something. So I'm going to run this through my die. I should say my die cut machine. It is a die that we're running through. And we've got this beautiful little piece now, like this. And look. Oh yeah. That gives us the appearance that he is living on a limb. I love that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little tiny bit of my glue. And remember, a little bit is all you need on something like this. Just a little dab, a do ya. And now I am going to lay it on that limb. And I'm going to bring it down so it looks like it's kind of flowing down into there. I love that. I think that looks so much better. And it covers up my boo-boos. Yeah, isn't that beautiful? It actually looks like he's got a beautiful tail feather, but it's not. He is sitting on that little limb, and I love him like that. So now I want to decide what I want to do on the inside. And y'all know how much I love, love, love my trio punch. Because this trio punch allows you to punch a hole, do a corner round, or do this little decorative corner. And I love that decorative corner on the inside of my cards. So I think to keep this card rather simple, I'm just going to put my piece of cardstock in. Goes in at an angle, and then just press it. And what I love about this punch is, unlike so many punches that I have used in the past, this one punches correctly without tearing up your cardstock, and it looks beautiful every time I use it. Now look at that. And with it on top of this Night of Navy, what a statement that is making. Make sure I'm getting the right side up, and I think this side will work. So I want to stamp on this before I commit it into my card. So I want something that says, made with love just for you, you're one in a million. And this could be a happy birthday card, a thinking of you card. It could be a card that just says, I'm sending you thoughts and prayers. And I'm just looking to see what I have that would fit in there. I've got a thinking of you, but that's kind of a small one. These are all of my Christmas stamp sets that I'm looking at. But you know, sometimes you can find, here's a Celebrate in Style, which would be beautiful with a happy birthday under it, wrapped especially for you. That would be cute. Again, this is gift wrapped, and let's see. think I'm going to have to actually go and look for a different stamp set, because I think I really do want something that's more of an encouragement type. Yeah, I want something that's not quite so Christmassy. So let me go and look through my stamps, and I'll be right back. Okay, everybody, I did find the stamp set that I want to use, and that is this Tasteful Touches. Just saying hello, I thought that would be so nice inside, because remember, I did want to say hello on the front, but I couldn't quite seem to get that to flow for me. So I thought, how nice would it be to just saying hello on the inside. I love this font. I think it's so festive. It's so I don't know, it's just pretty. And I'm a sucker for a pretty font. I also love this little design here. And what I decided I wanted to do is I want to stamp this off twice. And I think I want it to kind of go at that angle like that. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to ink it up, and I'm going to stamp once, twice, and the third time I'm going to come to my card, because I want it to look like just a watermark. Right in the middle, just like that. Now that just gives a little bit of emphasis right there in the middle. It doesn't have to scream words, it just needs to be there. So now I'm going to grab another block, and I'm going to line this up nice and straight. And this I want to be full on, just saying hello. So I'm going to ink it up again really good. Bring it down to about there. And then I'm going to put this right over top of that. But this, I want it good and dark. And this gives you just a little bit of inking behind it that just looks beautiful. I love stamps that allow you to do that sort of thing, because I think it just adds a little bit of elegance to your cards that you don't normally get. So we're going to sit that up there and let it dry. And I'm going to scrub away on these just for a minute. The red clean stamps come out so nice and clean using your Stampin' Scrub. So pretty. And all nice and clean. Love the way those clean up. So now let's move the stamp blocks and the Stampin' Scrub and my ink pad. We are ready to go ahead and get this card together, and I'm going to do that with some Stampin' Seal. And this is the Plus because it is my favorite. It goes on, I think, much better than the other. It holds super strong, and it's just, to me, it's just much easier to use than the other. I still miss the old snail that Stampin' Up used to carry, but this is not a bad alternative. I like this. I wish they'd bring back the other and replace the regular Stampin' Seal. That would be the best case scenario. Alright, so I'm going to bring this in, giving myself that 1/4 of an inch border. And once I know that I've got it where I want it, I'm going to press it down. And then I made this little bow, and I used the iridescent, let me show you what I used. If y'all could see the mess that I have all around my work area here, you would cry with me. I used this right here. This was called the Snowflake Splendor ribbon, and it is just so beautiful because it picks up the color because it is iridescent. So if you lay it against, this is Calypso Coral, it's going to pick up that coral color, It is just a beautiful ribbon, and I absolutely love that. So I made a small bow, just a very simple little bow. And let me lay that coral back up there and get that out of the way, because that is definitely not what we're using today. And I want to put this bow, and I can't decide if I want it to be here, I think right there. I think I want it to go right there. And I am going to use one of our glue dots, because they work so well for putting down your bows. And I'm going to show you just how easy it is to stick a bow. I'm taking the back of my bow and I'm just going to lay it into that glue dot and pick it up, and it automatically pulls loose and it's on the back of that. Now I can take this bow and stick it right where I want it, just like that. And look how beautiful that card has turned out. Is that not gorgeous? And this is using, like I told you, this is our quite curvy bundle with also with our Curvy Christmas, and let's not forget our Curvy Dies. I did not use the paper, the coordinating paper that comes with the Curvy Christmas, because I wasn't doing a Christmas card. But if you are interested in this, you can go to my website and you will see all of the Curvy. And if you want to, just type in the Quite Curvy Variety Bundle and do a search, and it will bring it right up on my page. If you only want the Quite Curvy Bundle, which includes the Quite Curvy stamp set along with the Curvy Dies, then that's what that one's called. But if you want to include the Curvy Christmas, you can add this on separately for $21, or you can get it and the paper that retails for $11.50, and you can get all of that bundled together for $70.50. So I think it's a great deal. I ordered all of them together because I just fell in love with it. And on that note, if you have been thinking about becoming a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, you can earn the discounts that I earn. You can earn free product. I just earned $100 worth of free product that cost me nothing but shipping to get it to me. And I mean, it's a great way, just by sharing my love of crafting with other people, I gain sales from that. And I'm so happy that y'all love the projects that I show and that you like the materials that I use. Stampin' Up! Makes it so easy. So if you've been thinking about there's product that you want but you just cannot quite afford it, right now is a great time to sign up, and starting January is even a better time to sign up. So but you know, give it some thought. If you have crafty friends in your family and you want discounts for buying them some items, this is a great way to share the love of crafting with family and friends. And you can do it and make the sales. I mean, why not shop from yourself for Christmas? And not only that, but if you got products that you have fallen in love with, but they're just a little outside your budget, sign up. And you're not obligated. If you sign up for a month, you can get the free package of stuff that you get. Your first order, you get $125 worth of product for $99. Shipping and handling is free. That's how I got my my stamp and die and cut machine, because I wanted this machine, but these things are heavy, so the shipping on it would have been outrageous. it worked out perfect for me to be able to come back in when I did and get this machine without paying shipping and handling. So that's another great thing. The only difference that you pay outside of the $99 is tax. If your state is a tax state, whatever your percentage is. For me, it's 7% because I'm in North Carolina, and Gastonia, North Carolina, the tax is 7%. Some places in the state it's 6.75%. I know in Virginia it's 5%. So it varies from state to state. I know Oregon doesn't have a tax. There are some other states that do not tax merchandise. So, you know, it's a great way for you to get some of the products that you love and get them for free or get them at a very reduced price. So anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed. Let me move this out of the way because I do want to center in on this beautiful little card because I think it turned out lovely. And I hope that you think so. I'm going to zoom y'all in so you can get a nice clear look. Isn't that gorgeous? And then look at this little ditty on the inside just saying hello. Isn't that pretty? I really do love the way this turned out. I love the I love everything about it. I think the little bird is just adorable. You could put a little yellow or orange on his belly if you wanted to. There's just so many different things. The light Highland Heather I think would make a beautiful statement on his belly. Let's try that and see. Do just a little bit right there. And then you can always go back with that lighter blue and just blend it. Isn't that such a pretty bird? I love him. Now you won't get the true essence of that color until that that alcohol evaporates off. That's one thing we have to remember about the alcohol markers. They need to dry. So anyway, I just love that card. I think it did turn out beautiful. I love my little snowflakes that says you're 1 in a million, because we know that snowflakes are definitely 1 in a million. I hope that you would be inspired by this card to do something similar. Go ahead and pick up those Curvy Dies while they're available. Like I said, I do know that the Curvy Dies and the Quite Curvy stamp set will carry over to the new mini catalog that comes out in January. So take, be ready. Go over and look at what's on the website now and do some shopping. Treat yourself. After all, it is Christmas, and what better time to be good to ourselves and to others that we love than at Christmas. God bless you all, and as I always say in closing, let everything you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is so worthy. Everything that I used in this card, the description, the measurements, and everything will be listed in the description below. So don't worry if you didn't follow through on the video. I always suggest to watch the video first, go back, get the measurements, cut your pieces, and then play the video again, where you can stop it and start it and be able to put your card together just like I did mine. Love you all, and until we craft again, God bless. Bye-bye.